Hello everybody, my name is Tim. We're here at Cosmix, and today I'm going to do a geisha makeup demonstration. We have the class here. You can't see them, but they're behind you, and they're going to ask questions as we go along. So anyone have any questions before we start? Anyone?
No. Where do you think we can purchase these products?
A lot of these products are available at different websites. There's Friends, there's Namies, there's any sort of effects supply house like that. You can buy them here at the school at Cosmix. Use FX Warehouse is a good one. I don't know if I mentioned that one, but that's the place I get a lot of mine from. Yes,
can you airbrush it?
You can airbrush it. Just funny the grin on your face. You can airbrush the base on. There's different bases. There's silicone based, there's water based, there's alcohol based. And you can just put the base on first with an airbrush, or I'm preferring to use a sponge today. I'm going to use aqua color. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Where do you buy the Sweat Stop?
Sweat Stop, you can buy that from FX Warehouse as well.
Okay.
Or you can buy it from michaeldavy.com. Yes, ma'am.
How much does that go for?
They sell in different size bottles. I know that there's a little 2-ounce bottle and it goes all the way up to like 16 ounces. I don't have the prices memorized, but if you go to the website, you can find them. It's not too expensive. Yes,
and
ma'am.
you do just like a light mist over it all?
It comes in a liquid form, so you can put it on with a sponge, you can put it on with a cotton round,
Really?
and you spread it on.
The paint or anything?
We put it on first and then let it dry, then you apply the makeup.
Oh.
It's kind of like it's sort of like an antiperspirant. It's an ingredient. It's an underarm antiperspirant.
Nice.
Yeah. You put it on your face. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
The big aqua color,
Yes.
how much is the big one going for?
That I'm not sure. We have to look online, but they're usually not too expensive. This is actually a Krylon aqua color. And I don't know. I don't have any prices memorized, but I would say maybe $20-something. Not too bad.
How long do they last? Usage-wise.
A little bit goes a long way. They do have a lot of pigment in them. Depends on how much you're doing. If you're doing a lot of body painting, if you're doing a lot of face painting, like for parties, for kids' parties, so on and so forth, they'll go pretty fast. But a little bit goes a long way, so you can do, probably with one of these larger ones, at least a few dozen faces. So. Also, Wolf Effects is a good brand as well. Wolf Effects. There's Maron, Krylon. These are all great products to use for water-based. Any others? No? All right, here we go. The first thing you do with this aqua color, you get some water, you spray it on there, and you get a sponge. You can use one of the yellow sponges, those round yellow sponges, or you can use a wedge. I'm just going to use a wedge here. And just load up the sponge. I'm going to give her an even base. And we did a PowerPoint beforehand going over the history, but I'm going to reiterate. There's a space between the hairline. Yeah, it's from the rain.
There's the door right there, and it's right outside the gutters.
Oh.
It's leaking into the room.
You can imagine the jokes that we take from that. So traditionally there's a space between the end of the makeup and the hairline. It's less than an inch. So I'm going to move her hair out of the way. And I'm going to start with an outline.
And this is the part where you do want the sponge to be smooth, like to keep the corners, because normally you're always picking them off.
Normally I rip it right. This way I want a nice edge to it. This is one a few times you've seen me not rip the sponge. Straight ahead. And remember, you go around the ears. You don't actually make up the ears. So you go around the ears. And you go down the neck.
Are you going to be doing any of the makeup on the back of the neck to shape the...
No, this is... I won't be doing the back of the neck. This is just for the front part. But you did see the back of it in the PowerPoint. At this point, I'm just going to do it because she would have to take her top off. We don't want to do that for this. I don't know, maybe. I don't know what we're doing more than a makeup demo.
I'm learning a profession here, apparently.
And we get into body painting.
Yeah, we were all naked. Yeah. Yeah, you did. We were literally.
I know, but it's on Instagram. You don't know that I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Just turn my head as needed, or just tell me.
Do you go over the eyebrows as well?
I'm going into the eyebrows as well, yes. Going all around the eyes. Look up. Even though I'm going to go back with more colors, I would at least want to get a nice even white base. That's going to be great for your audio. Good luck with that.
Yeah, right.
We'll just pretend like since we're doing an Asian style makeup that that's a fountain in the background.
So sad. Japanese
Welcome to
garden
Florida.
right outside the door.
So when it comes to the eyebrows, Tim, I know you said they don't really have an arch or anything, but let's say your model already has naturally thick brows with an arch. Would you have to cancel out their brows and redo them?
That would actually not be, that wouldn't be a bad idea if you want to block them out first and then go back over it, or you can just go with the natural. Because we're not actually going for. She's not actually going to Japan where they know all these designs. They go, wait, that's not right.
If you
You
are
can get away
using
with the
wax, what kind of wax would you use?
They actually make eyebrow wax. A lot of drag queens will use it. I think it's around Krylon. What's it called? I have some in my makeup kit, which I don't have here. But it's a little stick of wax, and you soften it between your fingers, and you can use an adhesive in there first, or you can use a.
What kind of adhesive?
Pardon? Yes, the glue stick.
How nice.
Yeah, drag queens love using this to help stick down their eyebrows, but you can go back over with wax too if you want to even it out. Glue stick.
How big of a base are you using? Is the white really thick on her face, or is it just enough to cover her skin?
I'm going with a thick base for more of that traditional look.
So
She's a young girl. She's going to have young makeup on.
with the glue stick method,
Yes.
because I've tried it and it came out like. So
She
you
shook her
would
head.
go over it
Yeah.
with glue. You put the glue onto the spatula and then put it in, and then you would powder it and then glue again, powder, glue again. Powder, and just glue it straight on your stick onto your eyebrow. But that doesn't get enough glue out. So I would
You
like
actually go
scoop out the
opposite.
glue.
Yeah, you go opposite first, get it on the
Yeah,
back
and then
side.
brush
and
it
then
over.
smooth-
But
right,
I
and
still
smooth
found
out.
that it was like very like wrinkly and then like crackly. It depends on what brand of glue you're using. It just like
Plus your eyebrows are way thicker.
Well, it also depends on how thick or thin your eyebrows are too. So mine, forget it. You'd have to use prosthetics over them or something. Cut them
Oh,
right.
okay. I was doing thick eyebrows.
Okay. Yeah, usually thinner eyebrows work better. There are companies that sell eyebrow covers. They're very thin prosthetics that you can lay over them. You just have to be really good at it to blend the edges, or now you've got edges around your eyebrow. And that will pretty much blank them out as well.
Oh, you can buy pre-made prosthetic eyebrow covering?
Yep. I think FX Warehouse sells them. Made by Morph, or no, no, not Morph, Toxic Image.
Would you price it and then could you,
Same way you put
can
on
you
a,
manipulate the edges with alcohol or anything like that, or no?
that's kind of getting into a
A
whole
whole
different
different
prosthetic
topic. Okay,
application.
okay,
later,
okay.
So,
Are you going to be doing her whole face?
yes. Usually I'll do a half face for a demo so they can see the difference, or to save time, but right now I'm going to do her whole face. Might as well, right? Just want to get as much of an even coverage as I can. People are going to be skipping ahead on YouTube. Come on, get to the good part. She's skipping ahead right now, missing all the fun stuff. Demonstration, boring, losing consciousness.
Help it out much.
I had a rhinosaur
Oh,
lens.
it's like, just take a quick nap instead of this part.
This kind of reminds me of the old TV shows like I Love Lucy, You're the Canned Laughter. They can't see you, but they can hear you. Those are all little different areas.
If, like, are people, like, sensitive to this
kind of makeup? Like, you know how some people have like sensitive faces and stuff?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that since there's all different skin types, some people are going to be sensitive to something. Repeated use, if you don't moisturize, might dry out your skin, but this stuff's pretty hypoallergenic for the most part. This is probably the safest stuff to use. That's why a lot of face painters use these products for children, so you have very sensitive skin. The drawback is when the kid runs around like crazy and jumps in the swimming pool and comes back out with his face repainted.
Or you're at a festival and it rains.
Yeah.
Right?
Did that happen?
Yeah. How would you compare these Krylon aquas to, say, like the Paradise cakes? As far as staying power.
To be quite honest, I haven't really, haven't really used the Paradise that much. I know that they're good products. This is just what I'm familiar with because I own them. I own a bunch of them. So when it comes time to painting, I know that these Wolf and Krylon I've known to stay on really well, especially Wolf. There's a lot of pigment in it. Not enough to stain the skin, but enough to really stay on. Especially when you put on, like I showed you, the green marble sealer, or if you use hairspray and really keep it in place, it'll stay longer.
Do these aqua colors come in all different colors?
Yeah, quite a few. If you go to the website, there's a whole bar graph. There's even some fleshy tones, and then the effects tones. There's the shimmer colors, all different. The shimmer colors.
Would you, for this kind of makeup, would you pretty much always use the aqua color, or are there other products like cream-based and
You can use
makeup that would work just as well?
Yeah, you can use whatever products that you are familiar with that'll give you a nice even base. Since this is just for the demonstration, she's not actually performing or anything, this is going to be easy for her to wash off. But it does stay on pretty well, especially when you airbrush on there. I've done that before for some of the cosplay makeups. I'll do a base of the aqua color, go over it with the alcohol-based airbrush, and it stays on all day. Okay. I would say, actually, since they're not that expensive, you can buy some of your own and try them out. Close your eyes. That's usually the best thing, is to try the product out yourself, because everybody's going to have their own opinions, what they like, what they don't like.
And you could do this white base with all strictly airbrushing without doing the aqua color underneath, or?
You can. Like I said, if you want to get this hard line, you'll have to use a stencil to kind of block it out to get those hard lines to it. But yeah, you can definitely airbrush the whole entire thing if you wanted to, except when it comes to the line work around the eyes. Okay, go this from the side here. It's not very even at all.
So did you bring up the light all the way until the waterline?
Mm-hmm. Well, all the way up to the bottom of, because I'm going to go back with some black eyeliner. I'm just going right below her eyelashes right now.
How opaque do we want the light to be?
You want it? It depends on your design, because like I was saying before, the PowerPoint depends on how aged. But right now, I want to get a pretty even color. Okay, how's that look? Done. Perfect. Okay. And now I'm going to airbrush white base. So this is silver. Okay, this is Temp 2's Dura line, which is alcohol based. One of the reasons I like this, the Temp 2 Dura lines, is very durable. It comes in a broad range of colors, and you can make it as thick or thin as you want. Well, you don't want to thicken it, but you can thin it down with more alcohol if you want more washes. If you're airbrushing bruises, for example, you can use purples, the same colors you use in your cream colors and your alcohol palettes, but you can thin it down with more alcohol and get more of those washes.
You're using the same airbrush that we have?
Yep, this is Iwate Eclipse. This is the CS model. They make the BCS model, which is bottom feed, which has the bottle on the bottom. But this one's just the CS. It's got the little cup. It's meant more for details or doing one face. You wouldn't want to use this in a haunted house when you have 50 makeups to do, because then it's going to get clogged. It's got a smaller nozzle inside of it. So the BCS, I think, is more of a workhorse for that kind of a thing. This is more for details. And if you just Google Iwata Eclipse CS, there's a lot of different suppliers online. So I also have another moisture trap on here. There's normally on my compressor, there's a moisture trap that's attached where the regulator is, but I like have doubling up. This is Florida, so lots of humidity.
What's a moisture trap?
Whenever there's drawing air in, whenever you're drawing air into the compressor, a lot of moisture is still in the air and it gets drawn in and it'll actually collect. And it'll come through your line there. As you're spraying, sometimes water comes out. You get a moisture trap. Like I said, it double up. One's on the regulator and one is here. Well, there's not one here. And you'll see that as you use it more and more and more, moisture will collect in here. It traps the moisture.
Never heard of this thing.
Yeah.
Surprise!
About it. Me and Andrew talked about it.
But she only talked about it with a few people who asked her specifically about it. She didn't tell us the whole class about it. Okay.
And now you know.
Thanks.
Sure.
I feel like I'm about to get a face tattoo or something.
Cold, isn't it? Now, I don't want to go over this line. I want to keep that line as crisp as I can. I can go back with a brush, too, after I'm done. If you do get a little bit of overspray, you can fix it up with a brush. Have you been airbrushed before?
Nope.
All right.
How high is your PSI?
Pretty low, actually. It's probably about maybe close to 30, maybe 25, 30. Feel good on time?
I'll let you know. Gotcha.
So you can see now, it's starting to sort of even out the base. You see how it's got some of the sponge marks?
You wouldn't just like turn that PSI up.
No, you don't want to turn that up. Because then it pushes eyelids back, cheeks go. And that's just unattractive. Now, actually, if you turn your PSI up too far, have they explained to you why by using the dangers of using PSI too high up? If you have your PSI really high up, it will force that makeup down into the pores. So usually keeping it down low, about close to 30 is perfect, because then it just mists over the face. The only time I crank up the PSI higher is if I've got the big sprayer and I'm doing a body paint. I've got to get that base on first, but then I'm farther away, usually a couple feet. So then you can just hose somebody down.
But that doesn't go very high.
No, this one in particular, this one's just, I want to...
Yeah, so that's the one we have. It only goes to about 30, right?
Yeah, it won't go very high.
Oh,
And then
so
as you
when
use
So
it...
when I think I'm blasting it,
Yeah, it's not. And then the more you use it, the air pressure is going to drop down because it's going to try to refill that little tank that's
When
in
you're doing that, are you doing circles or are you just going up and down? And
Yes.
You're going up and down
I change it. There's sometimes little circles. I just go along the contours of the face, just trying to keep an even
Okay,
coloration.
because that I want an airbrush compressor only goes up to about 30 psi. You're using about 30 psi. You have this cranked all the way up.
No, it's yeah, it's about there. It's between. I'm going to say the difference about 27. It's between 25 and 30, so I'll just say 27.
When you say like 0.2.
27.258 to be exact.
If you were not doing a demo, how long would you expect the airbrush part to take?
Probably about 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
All right there? Okay, good. Yeah, hurry up and get done with this part.
I'm a guinea pig, I don't mind.
This is such a good everyday look.
Kind of refreshing.
Got a problem with that. It's really natural. I just want to be tailored.
What other makeup can you do with this?
With airbrushing?
Vampire makeup?
Yeah. Oh, you mean as far as just basing her out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can do aliens. You can do demons. You can do kabuki. You can do yeah, like a vampire. I don't know if I would do a vampire solid white, but something that's really scary. A mime. Mimes are terrifying.
They are.
About clowns?
Yeah, clowns. Everybody's scared of clowns.
They always remind
How many
me of
people do you
clowns.
know are afraid of mimes? Nobody. Silent killer. They're silent but deadly.
Easy to convict them though because they did see before.
So, you can see how it's evening out. Airbrush hose dance.
That chord's so much better.
It is.
Ballroom dancing with an airbrush. I think it was Graftobian that came out with this belt. It was like the compressor was in the back, and then there were batteries. Then you had a bandolier of all your different colors, so you can actually walk around with your airbrush attached to it.
That
Is
is so
Like a
cool.
brush belt for an airbrush.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is so cool.
That is so awesome.
Probably so heavy.
I know.
Well, you know the respirators that they use for or for people that have breathing problems and patients.
the air
that's
tanks?
that's well, not the big air tank, but it's a little compressor. It's actually not much smaller than this.
But
So
you
yeah, it's
can't get
good.
backpack ones though, can't you?
Well, that's what it is. It's a belt thing. Yeah, they're extremely expensive, like $800 for one of those, but it's awesome. I can't imagine why you need to wander around with an airbrush, but it's a cool idea.
Maybe if you're on set for a body paint shoot, you need to do touch-ups or something. So
There you go. All right, now I'm going to move on to the red color. Still with the Dura line. That was a white Dura color, and I'm going on with a red Dura color.
Is there any paint left in your
No.
brush?
I'm just going to fade this color. Straight ahead, close your eyes. I'm just going to fade this color. Mainly around the eyes.
You might be more pink than red.
Well, you mixed it with white, don't you?
No, I'm just misting it onto the white. So it's a straight up red and just mixed it in there. And you want to keep it as symmetrical as you can. Symmetry is very important when it comes to Japanese makeups. All right, next, go on with the black. And this black right here is just a Ben Nye black cream. You can get this also from FX Warehouse, Namie's, Nigel's, Friends. They usually run a few bucks. Hello. Just to let you know, it's being recorded, so we have evidence that you're late in the paper too. You can use cream makeups, you can use aqua color, whatever you want to use at this point. Since I use aqua color base, it's fine. Go trace. We doing all right on time? Oh,
It's
No
okay.
pressure.
I'm gonna get a two-parter. That's right.
All right.
Is it just a solid liner and you're making it thinner or thicker in any area?
Making it thinner towards the middle here, and then it's going to get thicker and thicker towards the end here. I'm going to flip it up. On the side.
When you say the middle, do you mean the middle of the face or the middle of the eyelid?
Yeah, the middle, like here towards this part of the eyelid, and then it's going to get thicker as it goes.
Oh, okay.
I guess I should have turned the camera on, shouldn't I? Okay, I'm just going to powder it really quick with powder.
Could you use regular eyeliner for this too, or would you just suggest using the cream?
Eyeliner's fine. This
You're
is just
putting
right.
translucent powder?
Yep, just setting powder. Because when I go underneath her eyes, I didn't want it to transfer your lid. There's the lid. I'm just going to powder the whole face right now. If you did want to get more into a fantasy sort of a thing, you could always brush on a little bit of shimmer if you wanted to.
When we do ours, do you want us to go really basic like that, or can we add a little flavor?
Like from our pictures from Walmart, when we start adding some.
Well, as long as you keep it within that realm of geisha, yeah, you can add a picture and create a twist on it. Sure, why not?
I'm gonna